the board and fellow citizens, at any time should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. As we convene for the Durham County Commissioners meeting, it's crucial to recognize the painful truth of history that we stand on the stolen ancestral lands of the Catawba, Eno, Occaneechi, Shakori, and Tuscarora peoples, whose deep connections to this land predates our arrival. We acknowledge with humility the unjust displacement and violence that occurred, leading to the dispossession of Indigenous peoples from their homelands. Their resilience in the face of adversity is a testament to their strength and spirit. May we humbly honor the ancestors and elders of these nations, both past and present, by committing ourselves to fostering understanding, healing, and justice for all who inhabit this land. Let us walk forward together with open hearts, acknowledging the past and embracing a future guided by compassion, respect, and unity. I will now ask Commissioner or Vice Chair Burns to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we all rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Seeing none, I will pass it off to Clerk Wallace for announcements.
Good evening, everyone. I will read the announcements published in tonight's agenda. Durham residents in need of a fan or air conditioner may be able to get one from the Durham County Department of Social Services. There are eligibility requirements. You can call 919-560-8000 to find out more information. Pickup is in lobby number 27 on the second floor of the Human Services Building, which is located at 414 East Main Street. Join the Durham County Library for a drop-in crafting activity in celebration of Disability Pride Month. We welcome all ages to watercolor and or color their own Disability Pride flag. You will also have the opportunity to learn more about Durham County Library's accessibility resources. It is held on Tuesday, July 9th from 6 to 7 p.m. and Tuesday, July 23rd from 6 to 7 p.m. at the main library located at 300 North Roxborough Street. Come out and listen to the descendants of Stagville discuss their history during a panel discussion at the Durham County Main Library on Saturday, July 13th from 10:30 a.m. till 12 noon. You can register online. There is a link for the registration. And to learn more at Making a Way Out of No Way, you can visit stagvillememorialproject.org. The Durham County Cooperative Extension and Durham Congregations in Action has grant funds available to support Durham residents' access to nutritious food. Applications are due July 15, 2024. Information and applications can be found. There is a Google Drive link. Fiscal year 2025 Agricultural Economic Development Grant Program is now open. The deadline for the Durham County schools and farmers to apply is Friday, August the 23rd at 11:59 p.m. The Durham Soil and Water Conservation District is holding a training session on Tuesday, July 16th at 6 p.m. at the Durham Farm Bureau, located at 1901 Hillendale Road. It will also be offered online. You can register at a link for training. For additional information, you can contact Sherry Scully at scully@dconc.gov, or you can call 919-560-0558. The 22nd Annual Russell Blunt East Coast Invitational Track Meet will be held inside Durham County Memorial Stadium, located at 750 Stadium Drive, from Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st. Gates will open at 8 a.m. with the first events beginning at 9 a.m. each day. For additional information, you can visit the DurhamStriders.com website. And lastly, everyone is invited to a pair of community forums to introduce our new resources for youth success and empowerment, RISE Assessment Center at the Durham County Main Library Auditorium from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 30th or Tuesday, August 13th. These informative and engaging community sessions will provide community members a chance to learn about the new program and its benefits to Durham County community. Participants will get a firsthand perspective from RISE Assessment Center staff, be able to ask questions and share their thoughts. You can submit questions in advance to the staff by completing a form, which there is a link online, and you can also reach out to RISE, that's RYSE@dconc.gov. That concludes the announcements published in tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Clerk Wallace. Are there any announcements from the board? Commissioner Howerton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to talk a little bit about Go Triangle and the success that we've been having. I serve as the chair of Go Triangle, and there are such great things that's happening with the staff, the board of directors, and the staff at Durham County. We have received the Triangle Mobility Hub Race Grant Award, and what that is the Triangle Mobility Hub will be a new multimodal transportation center positioned in the heart of a transit-oriented district in the Research Triangle Park. And the timeline for the project completion is set tentatively for 2028 at a projected cost of $58 million. And we received $1 million to start with, and this is just quite an exciting time for all these to happen. One of the other things that's happened is the $250,000 Go Triangle bus project, and then another $1.25 million. So there's a lot that's happening with Go Triangle and its success, and I know that most of our citizens don't hear about all the work that's being done, because Go Triangle is what's happening with Go Triangle is for the region. And we worked to try and bring in more federal dollars because the county, Durham County, Orange County cannot carry the burden of all the work that needs to get done and all the funds that need to get done. So it's exciting to see these things happening. And then the governor just signed off on the $2 tax, automobile tax for Go Triangle. So there's so much, and there was a press release regarding this. So there's a lot of things that is happening around Go Triangle, especially with getting the money. And we do want to acknowledge, I want to acknowledge Ellen Beckman and her hard work with her and her team, that she helps us to get this money in because it's needed to get the things done and to be able to have a regional transit that's needed in the area so that people can get to the jobs, can get to doctor's offices. There's so much that's needed around the mobility of transit. So I just wanted to bring this forward and talk a little bit about it, and I've passed out copies of the grants to each one of our board members, and I'm just excited that we're able to really make something happen so that our citizens see that what the legislature did years ago in creating this entity, it's not going to waste, because it takes people committed, it takes people willing to fight for making things like this happen for the region. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Howerton, and thank you for your leadership on the Go Triangle Board and bringing that to us.
It's my pleasure.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, well, first of all, very exciting for us to get the funding for the Triangle Mobility Hub. Is really, really important for our region. It's going to be a place where bus service, train service, our local and bus rapid transit, passenger rail, also Triangle Bikeway can all meet up at one place. And also there are future plans for there to be some type of service from there to the airport, which we know we hear over and over again that people want an efficient, effective transit to get to the airport. So that is really, really exciting. I just wanted to, first of all, one item that I guess didn't make it into our announcements, to let the manager speak for a minute about the announcement of this new Certify and Succeed program to help minority and women-owned businesses. Because that application process is starting now. It's going to be available to people in the community, one-on-one sessions through June 2025. So I have one other announcement, but Madam Manager, if you could just share, or whoever's appropriate, just to let the community know about this. We did put out a press release around it.
Yes, we did. You did a really good job sharing the details, but it is a program that we are partnering with Latasha Best Gaddy. Her company's partnering with us, and I'm sorry that the name escapes me. If anyone can text me.
Infinity Bridges.
Infinity Bridges, yes, yes, yes. And so it is to help our small businesses and minority women business enterprises to become certified so that they are eligible to compete on contracts. What a lot of people don't understand is, in order for us to count MWBE utilization, the firm has to be certified. And so we want to get our firms, as many firms as possible, certified so that we can count them toward MWBE utilization numbers.
Thank you.
And that was led by our economic development team. So they worked in conjunction with our MWBE staff. And so we're excited about the partnerships that are happening.
Okay, well, thank you. So I'll forward that, and we can include that in the announcements. And the other item I just wanted to note, that tonight is the 80th anniversary of the murder of Private Booker T. Spicely. On July 8th, 1944, Private Spicely was a soldier who was stationed at Camp Butner, and he was shot and killed by a bus driver. Duke Power was the bus service provider, now Duke Energy at that time, and it involved him being asked to be moved further back in the bus at that time. And the jury at that time acquitted the bus driver within 28 minutes. I see Shannon. Shannon and I were at a reading last night. There is going to be a play coming out, so keep your ears and eyes open. It'll be November 14th through 17th in Durham, and November 7th through 10th, 2024 in Chapel Hill, called The Changing Same, The Cold-Blooded Murder of Booker T. Spicely by Mike Wiley and Howard Kraft. There was a reading last night at North Star Church. But tonight, right now at 7:30, there is a silent vigil at the historic marker, which is near the School of Math and Science at the corner of West Club and Broad Street. It is the only historic marker in the state of North Carolina that references Jim Crow laws, because Private Spicely, he died standing up against the Jim Crow laws. So I just want to acknowledge that is happening right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs. Vice Chair Burns?
She got mine, so yeah, I think when we publicized it, I'm happy she said it is the intersection of West Club and Broad Street, because I think they kept saying West Club and Berkeley. So if anybody's watching, that is the correct intersection. And so we want to make sure folks do get that, and we do want to acknowledge that 80-year history here. I did want to throw out two things. There will be, we've done significant investments on this board in Stagville. There will be a Descendants of Stagville panel on July 13th, 2024. I know that we have the poster out, so if you want to learn about some additional pieces of this rich history, the tapestry quilt of Durham that does involve slavery. Stagville, I've said it up here before, was not just a slave plantation, it was a slave complex. The average plantation in those times a small plantation had 3 to 4 slaves. Average large plantation had about 40 to 60 slaves. Stagville had 900 slaves in Durham. So just to let you know, like the kind of romanticized idea that we see on TV, Stagville, which was here in Durham, was a slave plantation, and they will be doing a descendants panel. I also want to at least acknowledge two people. I see that we do have our president, J.B. Buxton, here from the community college. Hello. And as we always like to do, as customary here, I want to acknowledge our city councilwoman, Deidreana Freeman, is also here. I see she's brought her better half, so it's always welcome to our chambers. And the other thing I wanted to throw out there, I'm super excited because I think sometimes we do these meetings and the public get to come in for just one, but there's such an intersection of the work that we do. So when we sit here and we talk about the new Succeed and Certified Succeed program, this individual who has this company was also an individual who recently graduated from our Enterwise program. And she also used to be the former director at the Small Business Technology Development Center at Durham Tech. So here we have an investment that we've made into a small business, and this small business is now able to expand and do additional work. Another example, this week I had an opportunity to go to the Women Moving Forward conference, and a young man walked up to me and he wanted me to share my thanks with the staff as well as with my colleagues. The young man now has his own business. I won't say his name. He's a carpenter now. His wife, actually, they both do carpenter HVAC, and his wife also went through the Bulls Initiative. So she went through the Bulls Initiative for BioWorks. He actually now is an apprentice, but the thing is they're both Hub certified now, but the big thing is he was a graduate in our first Hayti Reborn Justice Movement class. A young man walked up to me with a suit on and said, "Commissioner Burns, please tell your colleagues thank you because you saved my life and you saved my wife's life, and please continue to invest in this program." So here he was. He says, we sell pharmaceuticals the legal way now, Commissioner Burns, and we're proud of that. So I did want to share that. And last but not least, I see Andy Miracle walking in right on time. The last time I was up here, and I think the manager was up here, we shared that because we do have 2 additional public hearings tonight about a business, and this will be my last announcement. The investments that we make in these, so just as we open up this public hearing, I think this time last year we said that every dollar that we make in a tax investment for a company is something like $521. Happy to tell you all now that every dollar we invest is actually we get $633 back for every dollar that we invest in a new business, in the businesses that we get to come here through our tax incentives. So think about it. Would you not want to invest $1 and get $633 back? That is what we get to do on this board and this body when we bring companies in. So keep that in your back pocket as you see us trying to build back better right here in Durham. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Burns. Okay, that will move us to our citizen comments. Since we only have one meeting this month, we'll have citizen comments during this time. And we have one individual, Dwayne Crete, yes. If you want to come over to this side, to this microphone. Thank you. And you'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Good evening, Commissioner, Madam Chair, Madam Manager. My name is Dwayne Crete. I am the owner of Crytek Engineering Group. We are located at 4900 Coger Boulevard, Suite 180 in Greensboro. We are an 11-person, minority-owned professional engineering firm. We've been in business for 10 years, and we have worked on a handful of projects for the county. We're currently working on a project as a sub-consultant to HDR. That project is the Comprehensive Facility Assessment Program. And on that project, Crytek, we're responsible for performing the on-site assessments of your HVAC and mechanical equipment in 43 of your county-maintained facilities, including your libraries, all your libraries. We went through your EMS stations, and even the courthouse we're in today. And Crytek committed 20% of our workforce to the project over 3 consecutive months, from January to March, and we submitted a total of 3 invoices for our work. And to date, we have 2 outstanding invoices totaling nearly $50,000 of work completed dating back to January. One invoice in the amount of $33,402.78 is 138 days outstanding, and another invoice in the amount of $15,152.35 is 106 days outstanding. Crytek has performed outstanding service to HDR and the county on this project and committed 20% of our workforce doing so, delivering our task on time and within budget. However, the financial consideration for our hard work has not been maintained or delivered. I'm sure you'll hear excuses from the prime consultant to why Crytek hasn't been paid. For example, you may hear that, oh, their invoice wasn't turned in on time, or it was lost in email, or that we just simply forgot about it. But allow me to rebut some of those comments before they start, because we submitted our invoices, the 138-day outstanding invoice we submitted on February 22nd, 6 days before the month closed. Our 106-day outstanding invoice we submitted on March 25th, 6 days before the month closed. And also, we've reached out to the prime project manager over 7 times since April regarding payment. Twice in April, 3 times in June, and twice in July. But I feel every last individual on this project has been paid, including my 2 employees that worked on this job. I'm sure all of HDR's employees that worked on the job has been paid, and all the county staff that supported the job, but I haven't been paid. And I hate to be here shedding light on this issue, but I think it's important. We hear about MWE inclusion and getting people paid, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. And I spoke with the manager really briefly right now. It seems like, as you mentioned, that this is a consultant, the main consulting group that hasn't paid this invoice, so the manager is going to follow up with them to ask them where the holdup is and why this hasn't been processed. I apologize for the inconvenience that it's caused.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. That concludes our citizen comments. I will now ask for the approval of our minutes. We have 1 work session and 2 regular session meeting minutes that need to be approved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Vice Chair Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes 5-0. Now we will move to our ceremonial items with the introduction of the 2024 Durham County 4-H Youth Delegate, Amanda Davis, for the NC Association of County Commissioners Youth Voice Program.
Good evening, County Commissioners and County Manager. On behalf of Durham County Cooperative Extension, I am pleased to present the 2024 Youth Voice 4-H Delegate for Durham County, Amanda Davis. Amanda has been a very active and very valued youth leader within both our 4-H and our kids voting programs, and we are very, very pleased that she will be representing our county at this important event. I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Davis. I'm a rising 10th grade homeschooler, and I've been actively involved in 4-H and Kids Voting Durham for the last 2 years. I'm excited to attend Youth Voice, as I believe it will offer valuable opportunities to connect with fellow youth and hone my leadership abilities. My experience with 4-H and Kids Voting Durham have prepared me for this opportunity through my participation in Citizenship Focus, Congress, an internship, and various camps. I'm proud to share that I received a Silver Award at District Activity Day and will be assuming the role of North Central District President of 4-H after Congress. As a young person, born and raised in Durham, I'm aware of the significant impact that county commissioners have on issues I care about, such as gun violence and homelessness. This understanding fuels my enthusiasm to participate and contribute meaningfully to these important discussions. I would like to hand a pen to each of the county commissioners on behalf of 4-H, and thank you all for your time.
And we'd also like to get a photo with you if possible.
Yeah. Baby bought a gift.
Congratulations again, Amanda, and thank you so much for representing Durham County. Ms. Lee? That will now move us to our consent agenda. We have a very, very hefty consent agenda because, as I mentioned, this is our only meeting for the month of July before we go on break. Are there any items that a commissioner would like to pull? Commissioner Carter?
You tell me if I need to pull it or if I can just ask a question about one. It's related to item 24-0388, the approval of the lease renewal with the Animal Protection Society.
I think you can just ask it.
I'm just curious about the timing of this approval and the fact that we haven't yet approved the contract for services with APS, and just wondering how that will work. I mean, in order for them to meet the qualifications for the lease, they have to provide the services, and yet we haven't approved the contract yet for services, and so I just am curious about that. And I'm sorry I didn't ask earlier. It's just I didn't get to it in time, and I don't know who can answer.
Mr. Mans, are you able to respond to that?
Not necessarily about the lease, because that's the sheriff's office.
Right. That's what they need.
I can offer one piece of information, ma'am. The contract for services came to me this morning. It's scheduled for your August 5th work session.
And
now,
so
why
we'll
it's
approve it
coming
then?
off of different times, I can't speak to that.
Okay, so maybe we can amend the rules and approve it at the August 5th sessions. Okay.
Yeah. And this is just a guess, but it probably is related to the ending date for the lease. And so we probably need to get the lease renewed as soon as possible so that
Okay.
there's no gap.
Okay, that sounds good. I think the service contract also ends at the end of June. So that needs to also be approved ASAP, which is
Right.
what we're going to do.
Yes.
Okay, very good. That's what I wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Howerton?
And this also is not something I want to pull, but I do want to make a comment about it. And then there is one that I may need staff to talk on. I want to just lift up the strategic plan and talk and share a little bit about the strategic plan and the staff that worked on this a while back, years ago. You know, I was here when we did not have a strategic plan. We didn't have a strategic plan, and when it was brought before our board, it was not something that the board wanted to embrace. And we had to get someone from the School of Government to come in and explain what it meant for this board to have a strategic plan. So it is very exciting to see how this has warped into, and the staff has worked on it consistently until now. It's such a great plan that talks about our vision, our mission, and our values, because it wasn't something that as county commissioners, as this board, the former board, was embracing. So I'm excited to see this going forward. Thank you, Madam Manager. Thanks to the staff and all that's worked on this. The other one that I was looking at is 2409391. And Madam Manager, this is about the food and how the community will receive it. Just for the public, could we talk about that a little bit before we, or do we need to pull it, Madam Chair, or can we just have the manager talk about it a little bit?
If it's just an explanation, I think the manager can respond to it.
It's 0391.
And I'm not sure if Donna is still here. Yep, don't want to steal her thunder. But yeah, all righty.
Because we still have a lot of food insecurity in our community, and some people may not know how to access it.
And thanks, Commissioners. I'm Donna Rewalt. I'm the County Extension Director. I'm going to let Raina Goldstein-Benag, who's our Food Security Coordinator, answer this for you.
Sure. So I'm sorry, were you just asking for a little more clarification on what the grant, how the grants will be administered? Yep. So the Durham County, the food security grants we have had for several years. This is the second year, I believe, that it's been funded through ARPA funds, and we've used an outside contractor to help to actually administer that, because that really helps us with our capacity to be able to do more food security work in Durham. So Communities in Partnership is the organization that was that we're putting forward to be awarded the contract to administer the grants to community organizations that are working on food security for our most pressing needs that we might not be able to fill through other programs and funding that we're working on through the county. Oh, to receive the grant? Yes, so Communities in Partnership, and this was part of the RFP that we wrote, is that it was important for the contractor to be able, they put a call out to the community for the grants, and with plenty of time for all the community organizations and anyone that wants to apply to understand the grant. There's information sessions, and then the organizations will fill out the applications, and CIP, Communities in Partnership, will be the one that determines the funding based on what was outlined from the county in the RFP, based on the criteria.
Yeah, and I would add that they have a community, so there's a community advisory group that the CIP coordinates as part of this RFP, And they also, there's a range of grants. So there's also a lot of, over the time we've been doing this type of work, we've moved from just straight emergency food, which we started during COVID, to a little bit more of a systemic approach where we're also encouraging organizations to come forward through this process with grants where they are working collaboratively with other organizations. So that's a priority, for example, or they're making systemic changes to their own work. So perhaps maybe they're choosing to use more culturally appropriate foods in the communities they serve, or they've also been asked as part of this grant process to make sure that they are connecting with and engaging the people that they actually serve. So in some way, those folks who are receiving the food assistance through the organizations that win the grants are also contributing to the betterment and the continuance of the food they are receiving. And so it's not just an exchange where we're just giving out charitable food, which I think is kind of, it was a place where we started when we started this process, but it's really evolved to a much more sophisticated approach that really benefits community members more deeply. And also the organizations, because I will say that part of the RFP includes the vendor supplying the organizations with capacity building efforts around their own capacity to get other grants, not just relying, for example, on the county, but also to look at other grant opportunities and to also build their work in ways that are more helpful and longstanding for them. Because we know food serving organizations are also often on the margin as well. They're often kind of, they're doing what they can do when they bring money in, and then they are always on the look. So we are looking at that as a capacity building strategy within this broader grant effort. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, that is. Just one other question. Contact information, is there an email, is there a website, is there?
So there will be. So when the request for proposals is released, there will be communication information about their requirements within the RFP about what the vendor is providing in terms of that information. So they'll first be providing information about the information sessions and the application. And there's also a lot of support. One of the things we want to do is we don't want to keep organizations that maybe traditionally have found grants less accessible to them to get access to those grants. So there will be a lot of communication. I'm sure this will be part of your announcements at an upcoming meeting, I feel quite certain. So yes, so there will be a lot of information out there. You are so welcome.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that because I had sent a question to Donna, and just to clarify that because it's not clear from the way the item is worded in our agenda, but there is going to be $400,000 available to the community for the grants. So that I just want to make sure that that's very clear for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any questions about this item or the consent agenda? Okay, then I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Vice Chair Burns, seconded by Commissioner Carter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, nope. The consent agenda is passed 5-0. That now brings us to our public hearings, with the first one being the public hearing to adopt the resolution related to not to exceed $40 million revenue bond series 2024 for RTI. I believe we have Jim Twitty is going to be, there you go.
Good evening. This is a hearing to approve a bond, a TEFRA hearing to approve a bond issuance for RTI. I'm sure many of you on the board and everyone here is familiar with RTI, a leading nonprofit research and technology institute headquartered here in Durham County. They have 6,000 employees, many of which live and work here in Durham County. And this bond issuance is to approve financing to acquire software and enterprise resource planning software that is essentially a business tool that tracks business processes like procurement, finance, HR, and similar metrics across the entirety of the RTI organization. This TEFRA hearing and resolution are only for purposes of satisfying the requirements of the tax code, and it does not reflect, this bond issuance does not reflect the county's debt. It is not the county's debt. But I'm happy to take any questions before we do the hearing.
Are there any questions for Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, could you or, I don't know, the county attorney clarify? We have not done something like this in a long time. So I think it would be good, at least from our attorney or whoever's appropriate, to just clarify why this is coming to us for approval and that it does not convey any type of liability financially on the county.
Yeah, I can certainly answer that. Essentially, the tax, because of the way the tax code is set up, it ensures that there is this type of public hearing and approval from the jurisdiction in which the project is located. And so because RTI is headquartered here, this is where the hearing is meant to be under the tax code. So it's just a way for the public to be aware of the project since it is located here. However, the debt is issued by an external Wisconsin-based, in this case, entity, and therefore the debt is not the county's debt.
Thank you.
Commissioner Carter, then Vice Chair Burns.
I'm just curious, in approving this, are we affirming a set of criteria or anything in any way? Why might one not approve this? Why might an elected body not approve it? I mean, I'm just wondering, what does the law say that by approving this, we are saying X, Y, Z? I'm just not sure what it means.
Yeah, that's a very understandable question. There's really no criteria, I suppose, that you're affirming in any way. Again, it's really just to give the public that is in the location of wherever the project is located, in this case here in Durham County, notice really of the event. It's really, I can't tell you why someone might disapprove it. It's I suppose, a fairly routine hearing in the sense that, again, it just doesn't reflect the county's debt.
Do you think we're at least affirming that we believe this is in the best interest of Durham County residents or something like that?
Certainly that's true. Of course, if the board found any particular project under these circumstances to not be in the best interest, the tax code is also providing you an opportunity to
vote
not,
no.
Precisely. So in that sense, yes.
So that's what we're affirming, that we believe this is in the best interest of Durham County's residents. Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Tweedy. I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV. And so I did read some of the approval of the resolution. And just correct me if I'm wrong, because I do hear what my colleagues are saying, but it seems that this is more about geolocation or geography and what the federal law says and what Wisconsin says. And I know but it says under the federal tax code and the Wisconsin statute creating the Public Finance Authority, the bond must be approved in principle. So only in principle, not that we necessarily support, object, but in principle by the elected legislative body of a governmental entity with jurisdiction over the project at the public hearing. And then it says because of RTI's principal location, i.e. here. So it really is like federal law and Wisconsin's law that says, hey, we need to make sure that the people where this office is located are okay with that. So is that what is kind of the guiding principle for why this came in front of us in the first place?
Yes, that's precisely correct. I think you've summed it up very, very well. And as we were just saying,
look, flattery will get you everywhere.
But yeah, I think that's the idea, is that again we are approving the principle of the matter, that it's that you think it's in the best interest of the county.
Thank you so much, sir.
Commissioner Howerton? Can you turn your mic on, Commissioner?
It on and went back off. But good time with this mic. Does it impact all of the businesses in the Research Triangle?
In what sense, I suppose, do you mean that? The actual issuance of this debt? I suppose that's particularly for this project for RTI, but this, in theory, could apply to any business in the Research Triangle Park.
So if they want to do a bond, any of the businesses could apply for it, why?
If they meet the criteria that is necessary for like in this case, RTI is a nonprofit organization, for example, and so these are qualified private activity bonds that can only be issued by nonprofit organizations. So there's a lot of requirements for different types of bond issuances. So it certainly depends on what the structure of the business is, for example, what they're going to use the bonds for. But in this case, because it is a nonprofit organization that's issuing the bonds, they can take advantage of these tax incentives to issue the bonds and get at least some of them in a tax-exempt context, if that makes sense.
Okay.
If there's no further questions, then I will open the TEFRA hearing for the purposes of meeting the requirements of the Public Finance Authority and Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code as amended regarding the possible issuance by the Public Finance Authority of one or more series of its revenue bonds, RTI Series 2024, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $40 million. And since we've had the explanation from Mr. Twitty, do we need to repeat the explanation? Okay, wonderful. Then now that the public hearing is open, are there any persons who wish to speak for or against the bonds or the project? Okay, hearing none, I will hereby close this public hearing. And we will move to the approval of a resolution for this bond. So earlier this should I read this whole thing? Okay, earlier this evening, the Board of Commissioners held a public hearing for purposes of meeting the requirements of the Public Finance Authority and Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code as amended regarding the possible issuance by the Public Finance Authority of one or more series of its revenue bonds, Series 2024, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $40 million. The proceeds of the bond will be loaned to RTI, a Research Triangle Institute, a North Carolina nonprofit corporation, and used to finance, including through reimbursement, the acquisition and installation of cloud-based enterprise resource planning software and pay certain costs incurred in connection with the issuance of the bonds. The project is or will be owned and operated by RTI and is or will be assessed through the principal office of RTI located at 3040 Cornwallis Road, Durham, North Carolina 27709, under the federal tax code and the Wisconsin statute creating the Public Finance Authority. The bond must be approved in principle by the elected legislative body of a governmental unit with jurisdiction over the project after a public hearing. Because RTI's principal office is located in the county at 3040 Cornwallis Road, Durham, North Carolina 27709, the Board of Commissioners can satisfy the requirement of the code and Wisconsin law by adopting a resolution approving in principle the issuance of the bonds. By adopting such a resolution, the county will have no liability whatsoever for the payment of principal, premium, if any, or interest on the bonds, and the bonds will not affect the county's legal debt limit. RTI will be solely responsible for repayment of the bonds. Adoption of this resolution is solely to satisfy the requirements of the federal tax code and Wisconsin law. Now I'll introduce the resolution that McGuire Woods LLP is serving as bond counsel and counsel to RTI for this transaction, with attorney Jim Twitty with McGuire Woods is present and can answer any questions that the commissioners may have at this time. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to adopt the resolution entitled Resolution Approving in Principle the Issuance of Not to Exceed $40 Million of Public Finance Authority Revenue Bonds, RTI Series 2024, for the benefit of Research Triangle Institute.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Vice Chair Burns, seconded by Commissioner Carter. I will now ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the resolution is approved 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Twitty.
Thank you.
That brings us to our next public hearing, for a public hearing to consider a performance-based award for Project High Power with Iona. And we have Matt from our Economic Development Office.
Good evening. My name is Matt Filter, and I'm the Economic Development Manager for Durham County. The board tonight is requested to hold a public hearing to consider a performance-based incentive award for Project High Power in the amount of $170,000 and to authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute a performance agreement for Project High Power. Project High Power is the construction and operation of a new premium office headquarters for Iona, which will create 203 jobs and invest approximately $10 million over 5 years. The project was officially announced at a press conference last month in downtown Durham. Before I go into some of the details of the project, I'd just like to recognize and thank several of the folks and organizations who worked closely with Durham County to bring this exciting project here. At Iona, Seth Cutler, the CEO, Richard Stamati, the Chief Product Officer, Derek Rush, I see him right there, their Chief Financial Officer, and their General Counsel, Angela Allen. We'd also like to thank CBRE, the site consultant, Sydney August, and Seth Martindale. Matt Gladdick at the Durham Chamber of Commerce worked really hard on this project. And of course, thanks to the whole EDPNC governor's team and State Commerce Department. We're very appreciative of their hard work and their commitment. Iona is a clean energy, technology, and electric vehicle charging company. They will develop, design, build, and operate a unique, high-powered EV charging station network and customer experience that will lead to increased EV adoption in North America. The network will support and be open to electric vehicles of all brands. In addition to corporate functions, Iona's new state-of-the-art facility here in Durham will include a customer experience lab for research and development of software and hardware to create a network of more than 30,000 electric vehicle charging points. The company was founded by a partnership of major automotive companies, including BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, and Stellantis. Their selection of Durham County will allow for the continued diversification of our local and regional economy, growing our clean energy and automotive sectors. With approval of this award, the company has agreed to make reasonable efforts to provide internships to Durham Tech students, North Carolina Central students, participate in local hiring events and job fairs, engage with the Durham Public Schools on a variety of partnership opportunities, and commit to a 25% MWBE aspirational goal on their construction spending. There's additional details in the briefing sheet attached to the agenda item. All payments for this project will adhere to the Durham County Economic Development Incentive Policy and will only occur after annual performance verification that the company has met its job creation, investment, and community partnership targets. This includes maintaining that property taxes are paid at least twice the scheduled payment. Staff recommends approval of this award. The public hearing has been advertised as required by law. Happy to take any questions you may have for staff, or if you'd prefer to hear from the company, we have Derek Rush, Iona's CFO here, to speak to the project and address the board.
Vice Chair Burns?
So before the public hearing, so one, welcome. Am I looking at this gentleman? Okay, making sure. And you also had a title. Right, the lawyer. Acknowledge the lawyer, Matt. But yeah. So one, thank you all both. We all of us, I think, because Commissioner Lom had just had a beautiful little one, had an opportunity to meet Seth Cutler. One of the things that I did want to ask, because I stalked some of y'all on LinkedIn, really cool thing that happened right after, and this doesn't always happen this way. As soon as we opened up, as soon as we made the announcements that day, Seth actually put up that we were already hiring, right? So even though, I don't work there, you all are already hiring. And so I know that the number is in here. It was not 170, it's 203. So maybe for the public, a couple of things you could answer, because this was one I was excited about. I don't want to say any other names, but we have all of these companies popping up right now that are making better systems. And then this is a big deal because you got the car companies that come together and say, nah, we're going to do this ourselves. And I mean, the fact that, you chose Durham is just huge for us because you saw the value in our people, you saw the value in our workforce, and we certainly want to get folks there. So the one thing I do want to throw out, because I think we have some of those details the public might not, can we at least just do a small kind of breakdown of like the jobs? Because I want people to know that these 203 jobs are not all like my CFO, my general counsel. So, Matt, I think you...
Yeah, I can give a little bit of a high level. I'll let Derek, if you'd like to come up and speak a little bit more broadly. I would say just from what the company's provided, it's 203 total jobs. It bumped up a little. I think the number that we saw in closed session was around 170. Right. So that did increase. And so there's a range of positions kind of from the more junior kind of entry-level analyst, all the way up to kind of C-suite type jobs. These are more traditional, I would say, white-collar jobs. Right. I don't know if we use that term anymore, but that's, kind of a $100,000 or so average college education required. A little different from some of the other projects that we have, but this is a headquarters project, and so, that's kind of the way that something like that shakes out. Derek, I'll let you speak.
I don't know that I have much to add to that, but it's the right description. So maybe the one piece I can add is that part of this is not just putting a headquarters in Durham, but putting our test lab. So there's more work than meets the eye in terms of making sure the vehicles and the chargers and the back-end software all work together. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of what we expect to be happening, and probably one of the key ways we'll draw interns into the program is to help them or have them work with the engineers who are working through all of those interoperability concerns.
Right, and thank you so much, sir. And then I'm going to go back to one. I will ask you. I know that there were many things that we went over in the incentive project, and we did say best efforts for some of the internships, and we did outline, and we said at least one paid internship at NCCU, and then, Mr. President, I'm happy you here, internship over at Durham Tech, so that's your new best friend. But I did want to also throw out, did we do, yes, you all make friends before this is over, serving as Durham Public Schools CTE advisor. Is that something that we were able to get in there, if I'm not mistaken?
We did have some language about the Durham Public School partnerships. Right. I think before I address that specifically, everything that y'all asked for, in closed session for us to go back to the company, they agreed to. So
okay, well,
I can start with that. There are some specific things in the commitments, educational sessions with students to include guest speaking, hosting teachers for career readiness, et cetera. That's a broad commitment that, if there are specific programs, we could certainly slip that in, provided it was acceptable to the company.
No, and if everybody, please know I'm not picking on them, because we did a press conference, we did a press release, we did not know these really great things that myself along with the women up here asked for, and we did not get to highlight in the press release that this company said yes to all of them. So that is really what I'm trying to highlight. I don't want y'all I don't want the attorney to get nervous like, why is she asking all these questions? It's because we didn't get to say all of these things because the governor did that announcement, Commerce did that announcement, and a lot of those details were not in those bigger press releases. So I do want y'all to know that when companies come to us, when we go out, we really do ask for very specific things that are important to the people in this community, and this is a company that said yes to all of them. So that's all I'm trying to get to, but that's all I got, Madam.
Thank you, Vice Chair Burns. Commissioner Jacobs?
Well, I just want to say welcome to Durham County, and we're just really thrilled. This is a transformative project, not just for Durham County, but for our entire country, and I mean really for our world. The way that all of these different car companies, international companies, national companies are collaborating together is really amazing, and honestly gives me a lot of hope. To see this type of collaboration and the fact that it's going to be happening right here in our community, and it's so important for our future survival here on our planet, and really implementing the future that we know we need. So I'm just really excited that this is happening. This is a game changer. And, we just want to do whatever we can to make sure that people in our community are connected to this opportunity, and that we're supplying you with the talented workforce that we have here in our community. So again, thank you.
Thank you. It's a very good summary of what we're excited about. It's a very good summary of why I joined the company, and we're equally thrilled to be located in Durham. Someone else said it earlier. We see a lot of potential in terms of the skills, the history of research and innovation, technology in the area, and that's how we ended up here. So as I speak, Seth, our CEO, is packing up his house in Minnesota to drive down in a couple days.
Thank you so much. I echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I apologize for missing the press conference. As Vice Chair Burns mentioned, I had just had a baby, and so I was out taking a little break. But we're very excited for Iona to be joining us. Thank you, Matt and Andy, as well, for bringing this project to us for the board to support. Really excited to see all of the innovation that comes out of it, and all of the Durham County residents, hopefully, that'll be able to fill these positions. Thank you. So now I will, if there's no other questions from colleagues, I will open up.
Madam Chair, may I just say one more thing?
Yes.
Sometimes when you do these public hearings, they can kind of get lost, like how amazing this project really is, right? And so the 8 largest automotive companies in the world got together and said, we're going to form an electric vehicle charging company, and any of all the places in the world we could put it, we're going to put it in Durham County. So I just think that that's a remarkable thing that we should celebrate, and I know we all are, but sometimes it kind of gets and so just thank you to you for your support throughout this process to make this happen. So Madam Chair, sorry.
Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you for bringing the enthusiasm. I will now open the public hearing, and there were no individuals signed up to speak. Are there any more?
I would like to ask if it'd be acceptable for Matt Gladdick with the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce. We had him hoping to come and talk a little bit about the project.
Yes, Mr. Gladdick, we have some questions about this project.
Right.
Could you please answer those for us?
Let me get my legal pad.
I think walking across the room is going to be longer than my comments. So I apologize for elongating the meeting. I was just also very grateful for this team that has come and has partnered with us, and their willingness to meet with all of our local educational company or organizations and make sure they're connecting our workforce and all of the priorities we have. So I just wanted, again, like Matt highlighted, this is a really big deal. So it was a pleasure to work with Matt and Andy on this, as well as the team at Iona. Thank you.
Madam Chair, could I? Some of you all might not remember this, but I got to give Matt his flowers too. The same way I would give Andy his flowers, both Matts. But I do want to say we were still in COVID, and we were on a screen when we had, I think, this first meeting. And North Carolina wasn't getting car company after car company after car company. And your predecessor, Ryan, I remember I asked on camera, I said, well, what are we going to be good at? Like we've got to get something, because we're Durham. Biopharma is like where we eat. And I'll never forget, he said on camera, he said, it's going to be autonomous vehicles, battery systems, it's going to be electric energy. He said that on camera, and then he left the chamber. And I was just thinking, and he gave like some really great reasons why, and then he got another job, God bless him, but he left. But you came in and you picked up the reins, and I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to being able to work with our team. Thank you for being able to take our vision out into the community, because some days I'll see you you said, I'm really working hard on this, Commissioner Burns. And so I just really appreciate it. But yeah, somebody said it a couple of years ago, you came into this seat and it's just been a force multiply everything around it, and we've gotten so much. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since there's no other individuals signed up for comment, I will close the public hearing. And now, Attorney, do we approve anything? No? Okay. That's, wanted to make sure, because I didn't get a script for this one. So I will entertain a motion to approve the award in the amount of $170,000 to Iona. Second. Moved by Commissioner Houghton, seconded by Commissioner Carter. All in. Oh, yes.
I think, can we just amend that to the award and to authorize?
Yes. And authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute. Commissioner Houghton, do you accept the amended motion?
Yes.
Okay.
And I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Now it brings us to our final public hearing to consider a performance-based award for Project Foundry, and we have Matt again.
Good evening again. Our second economic development public hearing this evening is for Project Foundry. We are so very excited to be able to announce tonight and welcome a $65 million expansion of the Science Corporation here in Durham County to support their cutting-edge Foundry program. Science Corporation is a clinical stage medical technology company and a leader in the field of brain-computer interfaces. Science is working to restore the quality of life to those with debilitating conditions for which there are currently no treatment options, creating innovative devices, medical devices, aimed at restoring vision, cognition, and mobility to patients that have lost it. So this is really kind of life-changing work that they're doing. The 57,000 square foot expansion and program investment here in Durham will be at their existing TW Alexander Drive location, and it will support semiconductor manufacturing for new cutting edge technologies, including a groundbreaking visual prosthesis. The company envisions that this facility will be their hub for manufacturing for their next generation of medical devices. Similar to the previous project, kind of before I go into the details, I just wanted to acknowledge and recognize just some of the folks who really worked closely to bring this project here. At Science Corporation, we have Jonathan Beck, I think there he is. Kara Zapatelli. We have Richard Sokarides. He's not with us, but he's their press person. Adrian Doan, Dave Eford. There's Dave, their kind of site consultant and counsel. Matt Gladdick again at the Durham Chamber. And just the whole team at EDP&C and the Commerce Department. There's just a lot of work that went into this, and so I just want to say thank you. For the public hearing, though, the board is requested to hold a hearing to consider a performance-based award for Science Corporation's Project Foundry in the amount of $930,000 and to authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute a performance agreement for Project Foundry. This new manufacturing project will create 54 jobs and invest approximately $65 million within 5 years. Manufacturing projects with their great entry-level wages and benefits are a priority for Durham County. Of the 54 new jobs, 67%, so more than 2/3, require only a 2-year degree or less, and nearly 90% require 5 years of experience or less. So this is just fantastic for folks in the community. With approval of this award, the company has agreed to make reasonable efforts to provide internships to Durham Tech students, North Carolina Central students, to work with Durham Tech to identify coursework and certifications necessary for the entry-level positions, participate in local hiring events and job fairs, engage with Durham Public Schools on various partnership opportunities, and commit to a 25% MWBE aspirational goal on construction spending. There's additional information in the attachment. And just similar to what we talked about earlier, everything that the board asked for when we went to closed session, we went back to Science Corporation, they agreed to as well. All payments for the project will adhere to the Durham County Economic Development Incentive Policy and will only occur following annual performance verification that the company has met its job creation, investment, and community partnerships targets. This includes maintaining that property taxes paid annually are at minimum twice the scheduled payment. Staff recommends approval of this award. The public hearing has been advertised as required by law, and I'd be happy to take any questions or invite the Project Foundry science team up if that's your wish as well.
Commissioner Jacobs?
You mentioned a visual prosthetic, so now I'm really curious. I would just love to hear about what are some of, whatever you are able to talk about, but that
Jonathan and Kara
that you are going to be working on, that sounds incredible.
All I will say as a non-scientist is it is absolutely incredible, and once they describe what it is they're doing, I'm going to quote my friend Matt Gladdick here and say it's almost like science fiction. It's something you used to read about, and now it's becoming reality.
I'm a little short for this. Hi, I'm Kara Zapatelli. I'm the director of Science Corporation's chip manufacturing facility here in Durham. First of all, I just want to thank the County Commission for their support on our expansion project. So we actually have two visual prostheses that we're working on designed to primarily treat age-related macular degeneration, which is one of the leading causes of blindness in today's times. Both of those have slightly different mechanisms, but they would essentially be implanted devices in the retina that replace the function of our rods and cones. So essentially replacing the mechanism to take in light and convert it into electricity to talk to the brain. And so we're working on two different ways of doing that. They're in different sort of phases of development. We have one that's more early stage and then another that's in late stage clinical trials in humans in Europe. And we're really hoping to bring that manufacturing to the US and specifically to Durham County because we think that would be really amazing to do. So.
Wow, well, that's amazing. So we're going to save the planet, and we're going to save people's eyesight right here in Durham County.
We're going to save the planet and make sure people can see it.
That's right.
We will be copywriting that immediately after this meeting. Dave Evert, will you be assisting? Thank you so much.
Are there any questions or comments, Vice Chair Burns?
I had a really quick one because I think what was the sunset date, somebody keep me honest here, for the CHIPS Act was what, June 30? So you all, it says here that you all, the project is seeking CHIPS Act funding. Do we know whether or not, is there a timeline for you all? And in the event that this passes tonight, I know that those tax incentives have been helpful in being able to bring about business here because people get a JDIG break, they get a federal break, they get a local break. So in the event everything passes tonight, is there something that you all would need our additional support on even though the deadline is passed?
Madam Commissioner, thank you for the question. My name is John Beck. I'm the operations manager here in Durham for our Foundry expansion project. And the answer to your question is we have submitted a pre-application for CHIPS and Science Act funding from the federal government, and we have not yet received feedback from them on our particular project. We are optimistic that we'll get good feedback and that we'll have to turn an application quite quickly back to the federal government, but we did put an awful lot of work into the pre-application that explained what type of project we'd like to do here in Durham County. So we're optimistic about that federal funding, but we're also very appreciative of Durham County for the incentives you've offered us, which made the decision to expand our foundry capacity here in Durham much easier. And we're excited about doing that in the near term. So thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Carter, then Commissioner Howerton.
I just wanted to express how grateful we are that companies like you and the one before you really pay attention to what the commissioners are asking for as far as community benefits go. We spent a lot of time thinking about what the benefits our community wants to see in our incentive agreements, and we like getting everything we ask for. So thank you very much for taking us seriously around that part of the agreement. And we also like receiving greater than or equal to twice the scheduled incentive payment and property tax increases from you also. That's another part of this agreement that we value clearly and take very seriously. And welcome to Durham. Your work sounds very exciting indeed. And I hope that we'll be successful with programming that will connect Durham residents to your jobs. And hope you enjoy living here. Hope you choose to live in Durham and enjoy living here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Howerton?
Thank you. I think my colleague just said exactly what I was going to say. The other thing is, I think we have the wrong job, you guys. It starts out at over $100,000 a year plus benefits. We got the wrong job. So thank you for choosing Durham. We look forward to working with you and seeing what your next venture will be.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys again for expanding here and already being here, having chosen Durham in the past and deciding to grow in Durham. We appreciate it. Any other comments? Okay, with that, I will open open the public hearing. There were no individuals signed up to speak. I see Matt signaling to Matt.
A lot of people think we're the same person, so we're both in person here today to prove that there are indeed two of us.
Madam Chairwoman and Commissioners, thank you for having me again. I really wanted to highlight, again, this company, just like with IANA, this is a company that very quickly, because of the CHIPS Act, we started working with them, and thanks to the county tax office and Matt and Andy and yourselves, very quickly put this on agenda to get through the incentive process, so thank you for that. Also, in that very short time, Science Corporation has set up meetings with Duke, with Durham Tech, and with NCCU. They are committed to our community, and they've shown that in the very short time and the actions they've had. Very excited to have them expanding here. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I think Commissioner Jacobs, you had something?
First of all, I want to acknowledge the partnership and the teamwork that things like this do not happen without everyone working together, and everyone will need to continue working together, right, for the long-term success. And glad to have J.B. Buxton here, who's an important partner for workforce development. I just really want to highlight also not only what is special is that the kind of meaningful work that you all are doing to improve people's lives, but also, just how complementary these projects are. We feel very strongly about supporting different sectors of our economy. Two very different sectors here, and also focusing on different types of workers and education backgrounds. And so what's also exciting to me about this project is the fact that these are jobs that are accessible to people with different education levels. So out of the 54 jobs, 67% of them will only require a 2-year degree or less, and 47% with only 5 years of experience or less. And so these are very good jobs, good paying jobs for people in our community, and that is a really big priority for our board as well. So I'm really excited also to have you all growing here with these really meaningful and important manufacturing jobs for people in our community. So again, thank you, Matt and Andy and everybody who works together to make these opportunities possible for all of us. Thank you.
I will now close the public hearing, and I will Bring it back to the board. Any final questions, comments before I entertain a motion to approve the amount of $930,000 and to authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute a performance agreement with Project Foundry or with Science Corporation for?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Vice Chair Burns, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Award is approved 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
I do want to say, I know you all have said this, but these gentlemen here were very, very helpful to get us to this point and to get us in front of you. And we very much appreciate not only their effort, but your effort to get us in here and hear us in open session. So thank you very much.
So that brings us to the end of our public hearings. I will pass it to the attorney for the boards and commissions appointments. Are you good to go?
I didn't know if
yeah,
there was
no.
something more. And there's 10 minutes allotted on the agenda for this, and it may take that long to read the results. For the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board.
Oh, one second.
Wait a minute, I got 5.
I haven't given you one. So how you get mine?
Ruh-roh.
Here, it's just one?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. But I'll ask Attorney Massey, did you already have for all of them a majority? Because then I think then you could just announce it since, I love you, Commissioner Harrington, but it won't change. What photo? Yeah. Okay. While we wait, Commissioner Burns?
I'd like to, while we're adding up these votes, I do think we did 2 really historic announcements tonight. So if we could get a camera and actually get an opportunity to take a photo with the individuals for Science Incorporated and also take
Matt,
a photo with
if
our
you
folks from Iona.
Matt, can you bring Science Corporation back in? Thank you. Are you ready, Attorney Massey? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Take it away.
All right.
Your mic.
For the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, you have selected Gail Adlin. I'm going to mangle this one. Ryan Urquhart. For the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, Hannah Bartlebaugh and Trenton Cormier. For the Citizens Advisory Committee, Jennifer Ganser and Seth Candle. For the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee, Rita Denning and Mike Sistrom. For the Dangerous Dog Appeal Board, Grace Laws. For the Durham Convention Center Authority, Susan Amy. For the Durham County Women's Commission, Rita Denning, Maima Kamara, Tiffany Reeves, Stacy Johnson, and Kelly Lindsay Drayton. For the Durham Cultural Advisory Board, Andrew Nurkin. For the Durham Planning Commission, Sarah Chagaris, Zuri Williams, and Matt Kopak for the 3 at-large positions, and Carrie Woke for the Oak Grove Carr Township position. For the Durham Sports Commission, Brendan Madigan. For the Durham Technical Community College Board of Trustees, Matthew Gladdick. For the Environmental Affairs Board, Tamar Shellcat. Corey, God almighty. I'm sorry to you, ma'am. Corey Lavati and Sherry Taylor. For the Industrial Facilities and Pollution Authority, Ivan Francis. For the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Seth Candle. For the citizen position, for the Rep of Parks and Rec, Alex Hurdle. And for Youth Under 18, Houston Taft. And for the Memorial Stadium Authority, Derek McGee.
Thank you so much, Attorney Massey. Thank you and congratulations to all the individuals who applied and were selected. And thank you to all the individuals who weren't selected at this time. Please continue to look at our boards and commissions. We have a lot that constantly have openings, so please continue to apply, and we hope that you will serve us in another capacity. With that, that concludes our regular session agenda, and we move to closed session. So we are... Let me see the legislation. The board is requested to adjourn into closed session to discuss the national opioid litigation with privilege hereby acknowledged pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3. Do I hear a motion to enter closed session for reasons stated?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Howerton, seconded by Commissioner Jacobs. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in closed session. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.